All right, Nick. We are live and in the flesh. Marte looks like he's safe at third base. Here we go again on a replay review. This is what we're doing.
I think he's safe. I don't know. I feel like I've been tricked into so many of these this year that
I believe he's safe too.
yeah, this would be a very, very bad out. Christ.
They ever reviewed?
All right.
Yeah, this seems golly day. This is ridiculous.
Likes.
Right,
we
here we
need
go.
likes. We need likes.
Need all the likes we can get, folks. Brutal. All over the place.
Craig said he thought he saw interference at second. I don't know. We were trying to get the stream up and going. I didn't even actually see the play live, so I don't know.
All right.
Let's just win a ball game. Let's win a
Yeah.
ball game. Hey, we had the same thing last night. We feel like we got screwed on the weird double play. Didn't even matter. Let's make it not matter again. Let's make it not matter again.
I'm all for that.
Whew. All right.
All right. They
How we doing, chat? How we feeling?
All right, they got Carpenter, Ibanez, and Nevin.
Get through. First one's the toughest. Nevin, man, he was really only in the pinch run for Cabrera. Not really. Knock on wood.
I know.
When is Nick getting a green screen? Do you not like my background?
No, it looks good. I think they're joking about off the
Is
bench.
that some wild stuff? I unfortunately haven't been able to watch as much. Had to actually, do a little bit of the day job this week. But every time I turn it on, like I see Elliot in a suit. And
Oh, you see stupid
you guys
stuff?
you guys are
Well, that's what the show is.
going off the rails. I approve. I approve.
All right, Nick. One time, brother. One time.
Just one time.
Just one
Just
time.
one time.
Just one time. That's all I'm asking for. I don't know about you.
Never asked for more. You've never asked for more.
Yeah. Can't say that I've never asked for more than just one time. Chris asked any update on Tom. Tom, I think, is starting to feel a little bit better, but he had vocal cord surgery, so it's going to be a minute. I think he's still quiet, but he's in spirits. In good spirits, I should say. Strikes Diaz. Come on, man. We have this ballpark is the size of West Texas, 1, and 2, these are the Detroit Tigers, Nick.
That they are.
Good pitch. I'm going to have to put the chat away. You know why? Because they will ruin it.
Yeah, good call. Love you, chat. Just like the stream. That's all I want.
I even went with the Xbox to get ahead of it. Maybe I'd be ahead. Nope, still behind.
Well, yeah, wild to think that that little league stolen base run is the difference in the game. It's wild. It's Trace. It's wild. These games, man. I mean, they're all like this, but in September, it's like these tiny little plays that can.
What a pitch! Make a throw. Make a throw.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah.
Got one. We got one out, everybody. Let's let you know. Got one out.
Oh, that was nasty.
Thank you for swinging.
That was disgusting.
Hey, I have a sincere thought. If you aren't a really good hitter, how many guys does Diaz walk if they just let him take till they get 3 strikes? I feel like he walks a decent amount of guys, for being honest.
Same thing with like Devin Williams. I do not understand it. Yeah. I guess hitters are just arrogant.
They want to hit, bro. It's a strike. Boy, this one feels like we're stealing one if we can get it.
Hey, look at the Trace ad. Trace 3 technology. No free ads.
Oh, is there Trace free technologies?
Well, look at the screen.
No problem. All possibilities live in technology.
I mean, it feels like, you know what, that just feels like a good sign for the rest of the season.
It might be. I know one thing, that Encore Technologies is a better company.
Obviously.
Without
I thought that one without saying. I just,
No, but I do like Trace. They're a pretty good company, too.
Whew, that was a big gut.
Pretty good company.
No walks, Alexis.
One good slider here. Just slider for a strike, and we win. We win this at bat. Dude, who is that guy that was running on that ball that Marte played? What's that kid's name? He runs like the wind, man. I'll figure it out later. Don't worry about it. I'm sure someone in the chat will let you know.
Alexis. Why do you always think it hard?
Sadak better calm his tail, man. He's been pushing his luck a little bit too much lately. I got to be honest with you. He's starting to get on my nerves a little bit, Sadak. We're making fun of guys. We're not going, oh, this guy's hitting a $130. I'm not doing that, Sadak. Come on, brother. Let's talk about his single A stats if we have to.
High school.
College. We'll go back to high school. I don't care. We'll take fastballs that are an inch or two off the plate. Come on, Cincinnati Reds. Double play. That'd be cool. Please, roll it over. Foul. Hey, this is fun.
We got to get you a seat.
I got to get a seat, bro.
You're not going to make it through September without a seat. You're like...
Facing, bro. Facing.
I can feel the anxious energy.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah! That's two.
Love that slider. So does that guy.
Someone asked why I was grunting last night. It's like my way of celebrating and trying not to wake up my sick kids upstairs. So
yeah, fair enough.
It's the best I can do, folks.
I like Nevin. Let's let Nevin hit again.
Yeah. Run it back. Oh, I don't like this guy.
Oh, no.
I don't like this guy.
No, not this guy.
This guy makes me nervous.
Me too. He's just got a nice, big, tall,
and he's like
left-handed stance.
Whatever.
Let's not talk about it. Throw him out. Ellie, bro, man. brother. He was out, I think.
Would have been close.
To be fair, if he would have caught it, he'd have been a little more delayed on the tag, which means he might not have gotten him. Listen, can we be serious? Can we talk for a minute? Let's be very careful with this guy. I know you don't want to put the winning run on base theoretically, but we are in the 7 hole. This guy can hurt you. I'm okay with walking him. I'll say it out loud.
Carson Kelly on deck, their backup catcher. I mean, I'm sure they pinch hit for him, but
I don't care who they bringing off the bench in Detroit.
Do you believe it?
I got to see this replay again before we start a show, but that ball was scalded, wasn't it?
Felt like it was hit 1 billion miles an hour.
That was hit off the end of the bat. That's an easy out. Easy out, Nick. That's 3 of them. That's 3 of them, Nick. Nick. This is
I don't
real.
think they're dead.
This is starting to be real. This is starting to be real, everybody. Call a buddy. Tell a friend. This is starting to get really real around here, okay? This isn't games. This isn't something to frown about. This is something to get excited about. If you're scoreboard watching right now, the top of the 8th, 2 outs. New York Mets, the Metropolitans, they play in New York. They're basically a dead franchise that spent $400 billion on a payroll. But anyways, they're up 7-1 with 2 outs. The man on first. Otherwise, we have a show to do, and it's a winning edition. It's a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. Let's do a show. Folks, the Cincinnati Reds. I know there's a TV on in the background. I'll get it in a minute, okay? I'll get it in a minute. You want it off? There it goes. It's gone. Just like the Tigers. What a time to be alive. What a time to live in Cincinnati. What a time to live in Cleveland. What a time to live wherever you live. I can't believe it. I thought if you would have given me an opportunity to place a wager in the 4th inning of this baseball game, and you told me that the Reds were going to finish the game with 4 runs and they were going to win, I would have said, how much money do you want to bet? I'll give you everything I got, which isn't a lot, but it's enough to make you think that the bet's worthwhile. Anyways, Nick, Reds win, 4-3 over the Detroit Tigers, and here we are again. The Reds are not dead. In fact, I'd like to say they're thriving. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, we are anxiously awaiting the final in New York City. But as we speak, it's getting real, folks. It's getting real. Whew. 15 games to play.
Yeah, it is getting real. It's getting real nice is what it is. We obviously always do a box score recap. I got a couple super chats to get to. Dude, oh my God. What the fuck? Is this show serious? Molly with a $10 super chat says, just because she loves Chatterbox. Molly, can I be honest with you? Can I tell you something? I just found out about the Pampers, whatever that place was. No free ads, but you know what I'm getting at here. I just found out the place that you had mentioned was a waste of space. Didn't go in it, but I seen it, and I immediately thought of you. So hopefully that makes you smile. Big Corey, the Viking helmet guy, also the wizard witch of the West, because he knows everything that happens before it happens. He's the biggest good luck charm there is in ninth innings. Says, we trace 3 in a row, Trace. Good free ad for them. You know what? If your company's named Trace and it's right behind the home plate, you're gonna get a free ad. Michael Rolfe with a $50 super chat, man. Says, play Pump Up the Jam. Break a copyright. Chug a beer, Trace. Take a shot, Nick. And this one belongs to the Reds. I'll go take a shot for you. I'll find something down here. You know what else I'll do? I will break copyright laws tonight. And we will play that song. We will play that song. We'll end the night on that song if we have to. I don't give a damn what's going on. Mark Fetters with the super chat says, this is fun. Joey Hickman says, not dead yet. Thanks, fellas, for nightly entertainment. Let's crack those Pilsners. That's right. No free ads. Golly, what are you taking? Okay, that's a shot. It looked like a medicine bottle for a minute. I was worried about you. I was like, oh, man, let's send the troops up there to Kirby's house. Make sure we're feeling all right. Nice bourbon.
The good stuff tonight. The good stuff tonight.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I have hanging up over here. I was told I was going to need a humidifier, something like that. I don't remember what it was. Something about when something sits out too long. I was like, I ain't worried about it. I'll smoke it when I'm ready. I'll smoke it when it comes time. And you know what? It's looking like it might not need a humidifier. I'll pull that out here in a little bit. Nick, we have a show to do, which requires us to do a box score recap. We have super chats galore. All right, here's the thing. I love everybody. Mr. Mo, last super chat I'm going to call out, and then we have to actually do a show because I think that's why people tune in. I'm not sure. They probably just tune in to make fun of us. On the day the Reds clinch, I need the Curbs to wake them kids up because we up, baby. Cincy, baby. I mean,
hopefully it's on the last day of the year, and that's a 3:00 game.
Unbelievable.
I can survive. Maybe they'll do it in Cleveland. We could do it in Cleveland.
I'm gonna get the old baseball game that's going on in New York for a minute on the screen. While I do that, though, we're gonna do a box score recap presented by. This is where you go, Nick.
Betfred Sportsbook. All right, Connor Phillips versus Eduardo Rodriguez. Quite possibly the most difficult starting pitcher the Reds are going to face the rest of the season. Top of the second, Christian Encarnacion Strand smoked a single, 112 off the bat. Harrison Bader walked, and then with 2 outs, TJ Friedl came through yet again. 2 RBI triple, 2-0 Cincinnati. Bottom of the third, the Tigers tied it up on a 2-run home run from Spencer Torkelson, his 28th home run of the season. 2-2 ball game, but in the top of the fourth, the Reds stole a couple of runs, and boy, would they be big. Harrison Bader walked again. Noelvi Marte singled. And then TJ Friedl laid down a great bunt. Slight hesitation from Tigers starting pitcher Eduardo Rodriguez, just enough for Friedl to beat it out. Then a fielder's choice from Luke Maile put the Reds up 3-2. Then Jonathan India struck out, but Luke Maile took off for second base. He stopped. Marte easily scored before the Tigers could tag out Maile. 4-2 Reds. Bottom of the fourth, Tigers got a run back on a walk and a double. That made it 4-3. And once again, we had a score. It looked like it was going to be a high-scoring game, and it settled down. Connor Phillips put the first 2 runners on base in the fifth. He was pulled. Phillips' final line, 4 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 Ks, and a home run. But that's Cincinnati Reds bullpen. 5 shutout innings. Cincinnati Reds bullpen has gone 20 innings without allowing a run. That's not a typo. It's not a misspeak. 20 consecutive innings without allowing a run. Stepping up like never before. And as we speak, Reds, they're a half game out of a playoff spot. Behind the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Reds are now just 2 games behind the Cubs. Uh-oh, Chicago. Uh-oh. And as we speak, the Diamondbacks are down actually 7-1. They did get 1 run. Congrats to them. So we'll keep our eye on that. Reds could be tied for a playoff spot. And, of course, the Reds hold the tiebreaker over the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Unbelievable. All right. Right now, yeah, the Mets are in the driver's seat. They're bottom of the 8th, guy on second right now with 2 outs. So they're looking good. They got 3 outs to get. When you can trade out for runs and still win by 3, that's pretty good. All right. Let's discuss this wild card race for just a minute, and then we'll obviously get into the game. The bullpen, we'll get into that as usual. What else? I mean, what are we going to say about the bullpen? I feel like we've worn that out pretty good, but I don't know. I guess you got to continue to talk about him. Connor Phillips, another one. TJ Friedel, big hit down the first base line there. Lefty on lefty, by the way. We'll get into the offense, and then we'll do some Reds MILB as usual, and we'll finish it up with the good old who, what, when, where, and why. If you watch the show, you know what that means. The wild card race, Nick. I kind of said it first. I don't want to eat my words here for a minute. I was just not worried about the Cubs, I guess, is what I was thinking. I kind of was to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to let them go because I just thought that they were going to probably win the series against Colorado and or sweep them. And they didn't. They lost the series to the Rockies. And like I said before, the Rockies are a pitiful baseball team. I don't know if you've seen them play enough, but they are not very good. So the fact that the Cubs are backing up, maybe I shouldn't give up hope on catching them. Diamondbacks are a team I've not been scared of all along, and quite frankly, could you say that any of them are good? I don't know. And I think if you're outside looking in against this Reds team, you probably ask yourself, how the hell do they keep doing it? So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's MLB baseball wanted this to happen, and by God, they've gotten it, Nick. There's like 5 teams that are all, right there at the borderline of getting into this thing.
Yeah, it's an exciting race. You see the Cubs lose a series to the Colorado Rockies. You see how it's possible to lose a series to the Cardinals. Just because you have an easy schedule doesn't mean it guarantees wins. I think a lot of people just kind of, easy schedule, and either you go one way, it's like, well, they have an easy schedule, they absolutely have to win. Other people say, easy schedule doesn't mean anything. The reality is it's somewhere in the middle. Right. If you're playing 20 games and you have 20 games against an easy team, easy schedule, 20 games versus a hard schedule. The easy schedule, you're probably expected to go like 11-9. The hard schedule, you're probably expected to go 9-11. It's not that big of a gap. These are all Major League Baseball teams. The margin of error between even the team like the Reds and the Mets or the Diamondbacks and the Mets, it's really not that drastic. This isn't the Braves and the A's.
Orioles,
these are these are teams kind of in the middle. So an easy schedule like the Reds have helps, but it doesn't mean everything. It just helps, and that's how we should view it going forward. And the Reds, man, just keep hanging around. 15 games to play.
Yeah, no doubt. Nick, do me a favor. Shoot me a note on the. I want to put up the schedules, the remaining schedules. The site that you had the other day was fantastic for that. You have the remaining schedules here for your Cincinnati. Or no, you don't. You have Thursday's games. Look at you. You're big league, Nick. All right, for those that are listening in podcast form, Marlins do not have a designated starter. Or an expected starter against the Brewers, but that is tomorrow at 2:10. At 4:10, you got the Diamondbacks have Kelly going against the Mets and Senga, and then you have the Giants an 8:40 first pitch. They got Webb throwing, pretty good arm against the Rockies, who have Anderson going, and the Cubs have an off day. So that's what you have going on for tomorrow. The slate of games in the MLB, and I keep coming back to the thought that if the Reds just start playing the baseball they're capable of, Nick, they're going to the postseason. Period. They just are. You smile when I say that because it's true. See, here's what you've done, Nick. I'm gonna call you on the carpet here, not because it's a bad thing, but this is the truth. You've been so even keel on this thing the whole time. You've been worried about saying the Reds should make the playoffs because you don't want to set the expectation that this young roster should have to make the playoffs. And that's more than fair. That's more than fair. I think any reasonable Reds fan would say, you know what? If they were to miss the playoffs by a game or two or whatever it may be, yeah, it's going to sting. It's going to sting for a minute. But when you look back at the full fledged of the season, it's a smashing success. However, you haven't really said they should make the postseason. I know your mind when you smiled right there. This is the psychological aspect of coming out at me. I know you believe the same thing I do. If you had to put your hard-earned money on who's getting to the postseason between the Diamondbacks, the Giants, the Marlins, and the Reds, I know we're Reds fans. I know we're biased. But I'm telling you, that's the team that I think has the best chance to make it. And I don't care what the computer says. I don't care what FanGraph says. I don't care what any analytical equation says. I'm here to tell you right now, as the Diamondbacks look like they almost hit a home run. Nope, they didn't. He's out. 2 outs. Having said that, the Reds have the best chance of the 4. They just do. I really do believe that.
I'm going to trust my FanGraphs math, and I'm going to say it still would be they absolutely can. Like they have as close to a chance as about anyone. But
let me fix that for you.
I mean, again, we have to remember
can.
we have two starting pitchers right now that aren't running on fumes. Like, let's not forget that Hunter Green and Brandon Williams, that a guy just coming off the COVID IL, are the only 2 pitchers that right now, starting pitchers that we feel really, really good about. Like, there's still Andrew Abbott, completely running on fumes, Connor Phillips, and we don't even know who's starting tomorrow, Trace. Like, that's why I'm not going to sit here and be like, Reds are going to the playoffs. I'm just excited as hell that it's still a possibility. I don't want to go too far and, I don't want to be disappointed because I'm not disappointed. I'm happy.
No, I understand. But the Reds are going to make the postseason, and we're going to will that into fruition. We're gonna speak things into existence. If you're a person that doesn't believe in that, start trying it out. Sometimes it actually might work more than you think. Okay, let's get into this. Are you really pitch by pitch watching this dirt bag of a team called the Diamondbacks? They're gonna lose, Nick. They're gonna lose. Okay, it's 7-1. There's 2 outs, nobody on, in the top of the 9th. And let's just face the facts. The Diamondbacks are going to lose, and if they don't, I'll tell you what. If they don't win this game, then I will personally give all the money that I make on this show to Nick, which is a lot of money. All right, here's the deal. In all sincerity,
I'm still rooting for the Mets. You better believe it.
Okay.
No amount of money is going to make me root against the Cincinnati Reds. I can't focus till this game's over.
Okay, Nick, let's everybody take a break here and wait until daggone it. Now we have to wait a whole another out of batter longer. Okay, we're getting it. Let me. I'll talk for a minute then. Listen, let's talk about Connor Phillips first because I don't know what else to say about this bullpen. I know I need a chair. I don't know what to do here. I hate to say this, but I just don't think that he's going to be a reliable. Obviously, he's not. He's just not going to be a reliable starter. I think we just have to beg and hope and plead that he's going to give up, quite frankly, the starts that he's had today. Those are the starts that you can kind of come to expect out of Connor Phillips. Maybe he'll go 5 innings. And if he throws well, he'll give up 2 to 3 runs and you keep it moving. Now I know that a guy that has a 6+ ERA isn't the type of arm you want. I completely agree. It's not the arm that you want. It's not the arm that we need at this moment, but it's what we have. And this bullpen has been a cheat code for the past, how many months they've been playing? 5 months? They've been a cheat code. They've been the get out of jail for free card, and they've continued to do it over and over and over again. I tried to hedge the bet tonight and say, listen, we have to get more than 4 runs. We have to get more than 4 runs because there's just no way in hell this bullpen is going to do it again. And sure enough, they do it again. It has to end. It has to end. Does it? I don't want to be overly critical of too many people, but we just can't keep doing this to this bullpen at all.
I mean, 20 consecutive scoreless innings, and every single one of those innings were so important. It wasn't like there were 20 scoreless innings and a couple blowouts, right? I I mean, I know the game on Sunday was a little bit of a margin, but that was such like almost a must-win game that it always felt closer than I think it really was. So for all these guys just to step up, it's the one thing that I think maybe gives you the most hope if the Reds can sneak into the playoffs, at least in that first round, is the fact that.
Yeah, there you go. Finally, we got Nick back.
Well, wrong one.
Yeah, you had the graphic ready to go, you bastard. You you sit here and act like you didn't know what was gonna happen. You just wanted to wait to put that graphic up.
I had two in case. Oh my God, the Cincinnati Reds hold a playoff spot with 15 games to play. What is happening? Oh, screw
Hey,
the
can
haters.
I bring something up? If I may. All right. This is for the crowd that said we needed to go get this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. And you know what? You might be right. You know why? Because Giolito has looked great. I mean, Giolito has been a fantastic addition since the deadline. And by fantastic, I mean he's got like a 9 ERA. Then you got the Monday morning quarterbacks that told you need to go and get Lorenzen because he just threw a no-hitter. And, I don't see any Lorenzen takes anymore. Where is Lorenzen? Oh, there he is. He's going to the bullpen. Why? Because he sucks. And that's what happens at the deadline. You got a bunch of guys that aren't very good that they ship away because you got people that are desperate. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Cash Now. No offense to the 1-800 Cash Now people, but it's like you got to go get money so bad that you're willing to take a 25% interest rate. Of course, no offense to the people that need the cash now. I'm sure they're in a business for a reason, but that's the type of stuff that you're doing. Not a very wise investment, as they say. Oh, but are we really only going to get a guy named Sam Mole? Oh, yeah? Well, guess what Mole did? He came into a bases-loaded situation, Nick, and what did he do? He got out of it. He got out of it. And you know what? I'm pretty sure Sam Mole's been pretty damn good ever since we got him. Just saying. Pretty damn good since we got him.
1.06 ERA with the Reds.
Wow. Interesting. What a wild concept. What a wild concept. I mean, what do we have to do around here to get a little bit of respect for the front office? Just a little bit. I'm not asking for a ton. I'm just asking for a, you know what? That shit's pretty impressive. I still don't believe it. I got to believe it to see it. I got to see him win a World Series before I give this guy any credit. If you're going to be that guy, sure, that's fine. But we were supposed to win 64 and a half baseball games this year. Yeah, I'm going to include the half, okay? Because that's important. If they're going to give us credit for the half, I'm going to say it. 64 and a half wins. And here we sit in the postseason with 15 games to play. If we can't give a little bit of credit to the front office, then I'll just say it. You know what you are? You're a hater. You're a hater. You don't like facts. You like your own opinions, and you don't want to be wrong. You know what they always say? You can tell a wise man the moment that he admits that he makes a mistake. It's okay. Just say you were wrong about Nick Krall at the deadline. That's okay. If you want to say he should have gone out and got a starter, be my guest and tell me which one you want. Go ahead. Is it Max Scherzer, who just got hurt, by the way? Is it Justin Verlander? Wow, Justin Verlander. That's about the only one, Nick, that they could come up with anymore that I would actually be like, oh, man, yeah, we could have gotten Justin Verlander. What would that have cost? But anyways, I digress. My apologies for ranting and raving, but I'm sick and tired of people thinking that there was a solution at the deadline when there just wasn't one. And they went out and got a guy named Sam Mole who should get some credit. Sam Mole should get some credit, Nick.
Yeah, I mean he's been great, just as fit into this Cincinnati pieced together bullpen that's been absolutely elite. And yeah, I think I said it earlier. I don't know. I'm losing track of what I said, but I think I was saying it, and then the Diamondbacks decided to actually lose. But it gives you hope that if the Reds can get into a best of 3 playoff series, even with only having like 2 starters, well, that might be okay because you don't really have to get all that much. You're going to have a fresh bullpen. There's a day off between that. And, this bullpen's capable of putting up 4, 5, 6 zeros. Especially maybe play the Brewers. I like the Reds' chances of, bullpen for multiple innings against them. So
Big Red Machine says with the big time super chat, every time I see the Big Red Machine, I always think to myself, Nick, I love those guys. I can't tell you. I've always said nice things about the Big Red Machine, and in fact, it brings me back to the glory days of 75 and 76. I really do love the Big Red Machine. I think they should do some more promotions down there at the ballpark for him. You never see him around there anymore. All right. He says, I'm calling it. Of these 5 teams in the wild card race, the team with the best bullpen gets the wild card spot. Wonder who that would be. Well, might just be the team that's not giving up any runs in 19 innings. It's definitely not the Cubs. All right. I don't know if we want to be critical in this show or not. It doesn't seem like let's just be fair. I think let's be fair. TJ Friedl with a big time hit. It was a lefty on lefty situation. What's your overall thoughts on the offense? And I'm assuming you just wanted to give Friedl some love. Is that what you were trying to do there? And he had a bunt hit too.
Well, it's back-to-back days. He had the biggest hit of the game. He's just and against the lefty. I said it earlier in the year. I think TJ Friedl's the one guy that has proven enough to play against lefties, and he just continues to prove it. Man, this guy is he's just one of these guys that, as cliche as it is, you're just happy he plays for your baseball team. He's just such a fun player to root for. He just does so many little things. Does sometimes that kind of stuff get overblown? Is sometimes some of that stuff overrated? Sure, absolutely, but it doesn't mean it's meaningless. Doesn't mean it doesn't help your team win. And that's what TJ Friedl does. He just does a lot of things that help the Reds win. And had a good day. And look, the Reds offense just only scored 4 runs today, but this was against a really, really, really good pitcher. All the runs were off the starting pitcher.
Right. Yeah.
It's wild. Like, remember 2 weeks ago, Reds couldn't hit a starting pitcher to save their life. The only thing they could do is against the bullpen. Now they're hitting the starters, and they're not hitting the bullpen guys. Just the ebbs and flows of a baseball season. But this was a really, really, really good pitcher. 5 walks against him. And it felt like he had a huge strike zone, too, and they still got 5 walks. So this was a really good job by the Reds offense, jumping on him early. And it's a big – you're starting Connor Phillips, a guy that the Reds do not want starting right now. Yeah. I think it was pretty clear the Reds did not want to call up Connor Phillips because they didn't really think he was ready. And I think you see why they didn't really think he's ready, because he walks too many guys. But you also see why the Reds are so excited about him, because he has a lot of talent. The fact that he was able to kind of get through 4 innings and kind of keep the Reds in the game, he clearly has the talent. He just, needs to work a little bit to get there. But you shouldn't win this game. This is the game you weren't supposed to win in this series, and the Reds just win it. How many of these type of games have the Reds had this year?
They've had a ton. They've had a ton. In fact, there was a statistic today, if you're into that type of thing, that if everyone in the NL Central were to swap their win-loss record in one-run games, so every one-run game, if you won, then you would receive a loss, and if you lost, you'd receive a win. I think I've explained that as clearly as possible. The Cincinnati Reds would be almost dead last in the division with the Pirates. The Cardinals would be in second place, and the Cubs would be in first. The Brewers would be in third. It just goes to show you that the margins in this league and the ability to win a one-run game ultimately ends up being what your record is, the season. Not everyone. You're not just going to blow everyone out like the Braves are, unless you're an elite baseball team. And that's just what half of this league, maybe more than half of this league, isn't. Is that they're just, I don't want to say not an elite team, but they're just not. There's an average team, whatever term you'd like to use. But the Reds, like I said before, I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. It's just magic. I can't sit here and say that this is sustainable, because it's not. It's not. I don't think it is. The bullpen's just been legitimately kryptonite for every other team there is. And I think the Reds were fortunate. I know you're talking about the Reds offense here for a minute. I think the Reds were a little fortunate, Nick. Rodriguez didn't have his best stuff. He obviously didn't have the command maybe he would traditionally have. He walked the most guys he had walked all season long tonight. I I give the Reds credit for that. I'm not trying to downplay that, Nick, a little, but I do think they were a little fortunate that they didn't get Rodriguez on his best night, and they took advantage of it. But again, I harken back as always. Something or someone's gonna have to carry the load or carry this team, and I guess it could be the bullpen all year long. It's just my gut tells me that over the next 2 weeks, something is gonna have to pick up the starting pitching and or the bullpen if they were to falter a little bit. And it falls squarely on the offense. And I know yesterday someone in the chat kind of got on me a little bit about me being so negative about the offense. I'm not suggesting that they're not playing relatively decent, but as I pointed out, the Reds in a 1 month span, I think it was like May 20th to or maybe it was like June 20th to July 20th. Or I don't really remember exactly what it was, but within a 30-day span, the Reds scored 8 or more runs in a baseball game 15 times. Since the All-Star break, the Reds have scored 8 or more runs in 8 games. So, and I'm not suspecting that, Nick, they're going to get hot like they did earlier this year and score, 10, 11, 12 runs all the time. But I'm just waiting for that game. We need that game soon. We need one of those games where we win 11-7 or 11-8 because the bullpen gives up 4 or 5 runs in a game. It's coming. I don't know when it's coming, but it feels like it's coming, and I hope it's soon. And you know what? They've had some good at-bats. It's just they have not gotten the big time hit, right? They've not gotten the second and third 2-out hit. They've not really gotten the game-breaking hit. And give them credit, though. They've scored enough runs to win, which is all that really matters.
Yeah, Reds are now 33-26 in one-run games. This is a team that has a minus 35 run differential. So, look, we'd be lying if we said there's not some good luck involved in that. Yeah, the Reds had some good lucks that some of these games that were, where your pitching wasn't great, your offense picked you up and vice versa. The Reds had more of that happen this year than not. But there's also a lot of credit that has to go to the manager that managed through all the one-run games, that picked his spots to use his bullpen and maximize it. Managers deserve a lot of credit when your team has a really, really good one-run record. David Bell deserves a lot of credit for this team overachieving this year. To your other point about, kind of what the Reds are going to have to do down the stretch. Certainly the bullpen, you can't rely on the bullpen as heavily as the Reds have. You can't expect that they're going to put up 4, 5, 6 zeros every night. I think there's two things. The offense is going to need a couple games where they just outslug a team. Where the Reds, they just won back-to-back games. They didn't hit a home run. Did they hit a home run on Sunday? I don't even remember. Maybe. They're winning games without hitting home runs, which is they need to hit some home runs. This is obviously a really tough ballpark to hit some home runs. But they're going to need to win a couple games where they just have the offense. They're going to be facing some pitchers that they have a chance to really just take to the woodshed. The other thing, the other big guy is Hunter Green, because you're going to be able to manipulate Hunter Green starts. He's fresher than anyone else. You need Hunter Green to have some big time starts. Those are my two keys. If the Reds are able to pull off what would be, I think, one of the greatest accomplishments in the history of this franchise, if they make the postseason this year, I think that's the two things that the Reds will really have to have go right.
People think that's hyperbole, what you just said. You're being dead serious. I mean, you're being dead serious about the fact that you think this is one of the greatest accomplishments this franchise ever done. Now, I do think that to some is going to be a ridiculous statement, just because they're going to base this off the fact that the 75 and 76 season clearly, and then obviously 1990 as well. You're not saying it's the best. You're just saying it's one of. Before your mentions get a little ugly.
I mean, definitely in my lifetime. I mean, I don't really count the 90 World Series as my lifetime. I was 3 years old. But after that, I mean, okay, yeah, 1995, they made the NLCS. The year before, in 94, they were like the World Series favorites or kind of close to it. So them making the NLCS in 1995, while it was great, it was somewhat expected. 2010 was incredible. That's probably still going to be number one for me, especially since they had gone so long without the drought. But 2012, I mean, that team was supposed to be there. 2020, the highest payroll in team history. I mean, okay, then there's this year. I mean, this team was supposed to win 64 and a half games. If they make the playoffs, that's 85. That's a 20-game improvement. I mean, just imagine if they were projected to win 80 games and they won 100, how you view it. It's the same thing. What this team has overachieved is unlike anything in my lifetime. I wish so if there's anyone out there smarter than me that could find some of this stuff, what was the 2010 teams like Pacoda win projections? I would love to know that. Because I think that would be maybe a fun way to kind of evaluate what this team has done versus that team.
I'll try to dig that up after the show if that doesn't end. As far as Sunday, the home runs, to your point, the Reds scored 7 runs. They homered 4 times. Jonathan India homered, Will Benson homered, TJ Friedel homered, and Joey Votto homered. So that's, I mean, this team has proven that they can score runs by not hitting the ball over the fence, but let's face it, the easiest way to score a good amount of runs is to hit the ball over the fence. And when you're playing in Comerica Park, with all due respect, it's hard to hit the ball over the fence. I mean, it is. So maybe moving forward, we get back to Great American Ballpark, we can start to put some more runs up on the board. But that is a story for another day in regards to the home runs, and we'll see what happens. I'm at a point now where, listen, throw all of the statistical natures of what you get from people out the window. I think two things that can affect someone's baseball or the back of someone's baseball card, Nick. One of them is pressure. It just is. One of them is pressure. Some guys are going to shine brighter in bigger moments than others, no matter what the back of their baseball card looks like. It's just true. I believe in the clutch gene. I think the clutch gene is a real thing. I think that I've seen enough baseball and I've seen enough athletics over my lifetime to where some guys and girls have the ability to block distractions better than others, and they can perform better. And we don't have a clue in the world, maybe outside of Nick Martini, and that's a little bit of a joke, but a little bit of maybe not a joke, if we're being honest, of who has that X factor and who is gonna step up when it means the most. And we're getting into a portion of this season now, without question, where it's probably been going on for 2 months, but just like every big game in the late innings, the moments get bigger and the spotlights gets brighter and the margin of error gets smaller and basically every big play gets magnified. That is exactly what is going to be the next 2 weeks. We are going to remember the plays that happen in the next 2 weeks, maybe even beyond that if we make the postseason, way more than all of the things that happened way earlier this year. And they all mean the same theoretically, but hopefully we got some nut cutters. That's all I got for you. Hopefully we got some nut cutters, and I don't foresee why we wouldn't, based off of what I've seen so far. But you just never know, Nick. Never know.
All right, dug it up on the fly. Shout out to you, Evan Maurer, for getting me in the right direction. All right, so 2010, Reds were projected by Pacoda. I'm just using the same projection system to make it fair, and that is typically the one that most places use as the most trustworthy. 2010, Reds were projected to win 78 games. They won 91, 13-game improvement. This year, Pacoda projected the Reds at 66, a little higher than some of our sports books, but 66. Reds are at 76. Reds are already at 10. Surely going to go ahead of that 13. So, this is one of the most incredible seasons in the history of the Reds based on what their expectations were with how they performed.
Yep, I'm looking at the chat, seeing what kind of vibes we got right now. People are asking about McLean's injury. Let me get to some super chats really quick. People are asking about McLean's injury. The last I had heard, it could be season ending.
He's taking swings September 18th, and they're going to see how that goes. So they actually gave an update on him, as opposed to they have not given an update on Graham Ashcraft. So kind of read that for what it is. I mean, I still would say would be really optimistic that McLean plays again for the Reds, but it's probably more realistic that he plays over Graham Ashcraft at this point. Just because they haven't updated. If they haven't updated on Graham Ashcraft on September 13th, unless there's something miraculous coming, I can't imagine he's got enough time to get back.
Boy, we have super chats. I'll tell you what. Gift says, love you guys, love the show, need more starting pitching moving forward, no doubt about that. I am going to have to reconsider this browser situation because there's so many super chats. It's hard for me to see them all. All right. Mark Fetter says the bullpen with all caps, as always. Michael Rolfe, sit on that little tyke slide in the background, Trace. I'll slide down. I'll slide down that bitch at the end of the show. Kid show. Just saying, it's a little late, but I will do that. I'll tell you what. I'll do my dunk. I'll head first slide over that, get up and dunk a basketball. That's what's gonna happen. All right. Mr. Mo says Reds 3-0 with India. Question mark. Ooh, speculation. There's some speculation going on out there. It's a good one, Mr. Mo. Michael Rolfe then asked, any updates on the McClain injury? We just did that one. Mr. Mo then says, pour one out for Mr. TJ Antone. Boy, I'll tell you what. We'll talk about him in just a minute. We'll talk about TJ Antone in just a minute. Bryce Sizemore says, been a while, guys. OMG. I think that stands for oh my gosh. We in the wild card right now. Baseball is weird, man. It is kind of weird, isn't it? It's like it's the roller coaster of all roller coasters. You know why? Because you get to do it every day. I mean, football, at least you get a little bit of a reprieve, right? You get to marinate on a win or a loss. They both might not feel good, but halfway through the week, you're kind of looking forward to the next game. No, I'm not baseball, man. Not baseball. You're right back in the saddle the very next day, sinking or swimming or feeling good or feeling bad. Ned Flanders then asks, is Daniel Duarte emerging as the next great bullpen arm for this club? He's looking more confident all the time. I don't know, Ned, if you'd have been around this show, and you might have been. I don't know. Back in like June, I think I said something along the lines that I think this Duarte guy is actually pretty damn good. He's got stuff to be pretty damn good. And Duarte does. In fact, I got DMs to prove it. I might just throw those up on live on the air here today. Better be careful. Nick, anything to add to any of those super chats?
Yeah, Duarte's looked really good. I found it interesting that Bell went to Duarte in the 8th inning over Derek Law. I feel like Law was pretty rested at this point, so I think Duarte has kind of at least moved his way up in terms of the confidence list for David Bell. Duarte does walk too many guys, but that's three straight appearances that he didn't walk anyone, so that's huge for him. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely a weapon. There's no question. I mean, especially assuming Antone's probably sadly going on the IL. I mean, you're going to need him. There's going to be, I don't know, maybe Casey Legumina gets called up. You need some more guys to step up. I mean, thankfully this bullpen is, knock on wood, pretty deep right now. I mean, it's no more apparent than when they can go 6 different dudes and put up zeros.
It is absurd. For those that are new to this, let me just list some names out for you, and you tell me when they come in the game if you feel good about it. Alexis Diaz, yeah. Lucas Sims, yeah. Ian Jabot, yeah. Sam Mole, yeah. Fernando Cruz, yeah. TJ Antone, pour one out, but yeah. Buck Farmer, yeah. Derek Law, I don't know. We'll leave that one up for debate. Daniel Duarte, I'll give it maybe. But that's the bullpen, people. That's what you got. That's when the bullpen door opens, you best be damn sure that you're feeling pretty decent about it. It's a little absurd if we're being honest. It's a little absurd. Don't forget about Kirk Casale, too. He's still on the roster. What a wild time to be alive. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you just though think back to other spots of this bullpen, and if Derek Law is the guy that we're least confident about, a guy that's actually pitched pretty well all year, just kind of going through a rough patch right now, maybe he's toast, maybe he's not. But if that's the guy we feel the least confident about, I mean, yeah, I think things are going pretty well for the bullpen.
Trevor asked, can he book his Milwaukee trip for October? I don't know. You might want to wait just because if the Reds get hot. If the Reds get hot, yeah, you better be careful. Might be playing baseball games somewhere else. Might be playing baseball somewhere else. Will Phillips is saying my mic is pretty quiet. It might be because I wasn't talking into it there for just a second, or it might just be because it's quiet. I don't know. I can turn it up. Who knows? All right. What are you laughing at me for?
We bring back Karcher for the stretch run. I'll hang up and listen.
You know what's funny? Can we be
He's
serious?
getting a ring. He's getting a ring.
Ricky Karcher, okay? If the Reds
Defines
win, I want you to remember at the end of this year when the final season standings occur. Do me a favor when you look at it. You're going to remember me and what I'm about to say. I want you to remember this. When you look at the final standings at the very last game of the year, I want you to think to yourself, I want you to take one win away and add a loss and see what happens and just think to yourself, Ricky Karcher did that. It's going to probably be pretty damn important. It's going to probably be pretty damn important. And Ricky Karcher deserves some credit. Everybody deserves some credit. The only reservation I have, the only regret I will have at the end of this year is that Sunday in Oakland. That's it. I mean, you think it's a bit? I'm being honest. That Sunday in Oakland is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. You said it's the best thing that's ever happened to this franchise since your lifetime. That's the worst thing that's happened to this franchise in my lifetime. Sunday in Oakland. Just taking the day off. What a joke that was. All right, you want to get into some red? I'm going to put this microphone in my mouth so that way I don't get yelled at by anyone else. Would you like to talk about anything else before we get into some Reds minor league baseball?
The Marlins just won. Woohoo! Congrats to them.
They did.
And it's tight. I mean, the Reds are in a spot, but man, it's gonna be an everyday grind at this point, right? I mean,
yeah, it is. It is. I'm gonna pull up the remaining schedules while you do the Reds MILB. We'll finish the show up talking about kind of what it looks like and what we can expect to have next, where we're gonna go, and why we're gonna get there. But without further ado, this is the Reds MILB, sponsored by. This is where you go, Nick.
Betfred Sportsbook. All right, Louisville Bats, they lose 4-0. Not a whole lot going on here. Kevin Newman 0 for 4. Kevin just 5 for 25. 0 extra base hits during his rehab assignment. Tony Santillan did pitch a scoreless inning. That's maybe, of note if the Reds need an extra reliever at some point. Jose Barrero continues to struggle. He's 0 for 3. And then Double-A Chattanooga, they lost 5-4. Blake Dunn 0 for 3. Matt Nelson, another good night. He was 2 for 3. Just was announced yesterday, Edwin Arroyo's getting promoted for Chattanooga. Of course, they start the playoffs here next week, so that'll be kind of fun to get to see him in some playoff games and kind of get some cool experience here at the end of the season.
Yep. I didn't want to ruin the deal here. Let's do this. For those that are wondering what the rest of the year looks like for everybody and the rest of the teams, this is hold on. Struggling on my producer desk. I need a chair. It turns out I need a chair. All right. Let's clear the graphics, cut you over. All right, folks. This is what we're looking at. All right. National League. There's only a few teams we got to worry about. Chicago Cubs are one of them. You can see they got the Braves 3 times. They got the Brewers a good amount. And then they have the D-backs, obviously the Rockies and the Pirates, 2 easier opponents. You can read it for yourself. I think when I look at this, Nick, the thing that stands out the most to me is the team that I think that we're probably ultimately chasing for that final wild card spot, and I could be wrong, is the Diamondbacks, and they have a tough little sled here. And not only that, but I'd also add in the fact that it's not like the Marlins. It's not like the Marlins have much of an easier sled schedule either.
Yeah, the Giants are a team to also kind of watch just because that's the one team that the Reds don't have a tiebreaker on, and they obviously have a little bit easier of a schedule than the Marlins. But the Marlins, man, they're playing really well right now. Despite their really tough schedule, they're getting through some of it. So yeah, it's you really have to throw a lot of everything out the window at this point. It's 15 games left for the Reds. The other teams have 16 games left. Any of them have 17. I think most of them are 16. But I mean, it's 15 games. It's who could get hot, right? I mean, I like that the Reds are within two of the Cubs, though. I think that's a huge deal. If the Reds can find a way to get a win tomorrow, Cubs are off, so the Reds will be just a game and a half behind them, going into the weekend. And then you have the Diamondbacks and Cubs playing each other this weekend. So from a psychological standpoint, the series against the Mets is the most important series left, just because if you lose, you are guaranteed to lose ground. But if you win, you're guaranteed to gain ground on one of your two playoff paths. So that's a huge series from that perspective. I mean, if the Reds got swept in that series, God forbid, does it mean they have no chance? No. I mean, they could turn around and sweep the Twins, and it completely washes itself out. But from a day to day, and in terms of trying not to fall too far back, that's a series where I think there could be the most movement one way or the other.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Giants have of their 16 games left on the schedule. They're not counting tonight. They have 9 of them against the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, and then they got 3 against the Padres. Which the Padres, if you don't know, they're very good at baseball. People have said that all year long. They're very good. They are. I mean, listen, the Padres still have a chance to get in this thing if you think about it. You don't think so, Nick? Why are you laughing? I mean, they're good. They're really good.
I mean, they spend a lot of money.
Their expected winning percentage is like 160. That's what they're supposed to go this year. Just saying.
In the offseason.
No, I'm just telling you. That's what the stats are telling me on MLB.com is to watch out for the Padres. I've been watching out for them a while, and there's just nobody coming around that corner. Anyways, that's here nor there. Good luck to the Padres next year. Milwaukee, hopefully they can take care of the Cubs. I mean, listen, at this point, it's a weird sport, isn't it? Because we're starting to root for teams that we were rooting against all year long. We should turn into Milwaukee fans because they got 4 against the Marlins and they got 3 against the Cubs. So, you don't think so? What are you saying? You don't want me to cheer for the Brewers?
No, you're not cheering for the Reds are 6 games back with 15 to play, and they lose the tiebreaker, so they're actually more than 6 games back. Nah, that's over. The Rockies are the team.
We are rooting for the Brewers.
Yes, we're rooting for the Brewers.
The
Rockies are the team.
Yeah,
that's the team. I mean, they got 4 games at home against the Giants. That team does play a lot better at home.
You're worried about the Giants?
Well, they got 4 games against the Rockies this weekend.
They got 7 against the Dodgers. They got 2 against the Diamondbacks and 3 against the Padres. They got 7 games against the Dodgers. Are you going to tell me that the Padres aren't going to, or the Dodgers aren't going to try? I mean, they still have to play. They still have their players.
But the Rockies' next 7 games the Giants have 4 games against the Rockies. So I mean, if they play up to their capability, I mean, they could. Yeah. Be 2 games up on the Reds at the end of this weekend.
They wouldn't really. They have to turn around and play the Dodgers 7 times. So that's good luck to them. Here's the thing. Let's just say this, Nick. If the Reds are able to win one tomorrow, that's stealing a game. We've already stolen one extra game in this series, right? If we win tomorrow, we stole 1 extra game. I would venture to say that if they can find a way to take 2 or 3 in New York, they're going to be sitting in a position where you got to feel extremely confident. The only thing that can't happen, okay, if we're going to paint out scenarios, the only thing that cannot happen is they get swept in New York. That's the only thing that I think at the end of the Cubs or at the end of the Mets series, if the Reds, even if they were to lose tomorrow, and I'm not trying to say knock on wood here, I'm not trying to suggest that that's what we're hoping for here. Clearly not. If they were to lose tomorrow and they were to lose 2 or 3 against the Mets, they're still going to be in a position, hear me out, to where they're not going to be that bad off. The only thing that cannot happen is getting swept by the Mets. Because if you do that, you're losing ground every single day for 3 straight days, and it's just going to be tough. It's going to be tough sledding to not only come back from the standpoint that you've lost ground in the standings, but then also it probably means that you're starting to have a lot of undue pressure on you because you're not playing good baseball, and that can kind of spiral out of control. So, This is it. These 4 games, these next 4 games, and I know they all matter just as much as the next one, but these next 4 games feel like, from a psychological factor, a monster 4-game series. 1 against Detroit, obviously 3 against the Mets.
TJ Antone said after the game, this is from Gordon Whitmire, quote, "It just kind of flared up. It's nothing serious, I don't think. Same thing I've been rehabbing the whole time. Kind of the same spot and everything." So maybe a positive thing. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. Final thought on TJ Antone here before we get into who, what, when, where, and why is this. I said this the other day. I was mean. I don't want to rehash that. If you watch the show long enough, you know what I said about TJ Antone. If that's it for TJ, he needs to be more than proud, man. And he needs to hang it up. I know it shouldn't be one man's to tell another man what he should and shouldn't do, but just he's put his body through a lot of pain, man. He's put his body through a lot of deep dark days. I'm sure TJ Antone's been down, and you know what? Hell with it. If he wants to come back, sure, by all means. But I'm so impressed that he was able to come back and pitch again in the major leagues. It's one thing to come back. It's a whole nother thing to come back and be effective in the major leagues. So hopefully it's just a flare up. Hopefully he's back out there better than ever. Not to the distant future. He'll be back there helping our Cincinnati Reds get to the postseason. But if not, pour one out as Mr. Mo said for Mr. TJ Antone.
Yeah, just such a cool story, and I mean, I hope he gets to pitch again for the Reds, but we'll have to see.
If he doesn't, like I said, he should be proud as hell for what he did. So we'll see where it all ultimately ends up going and what's next. We got a little who, what, when, where, and why. Good luck with the who, Nick.
Yeah, we don't know who's pitching for the Reds, so I'm assuming Ben Lively's getting in the mix. Don't know if the Reds are going to throw an opener. I would like to see them maybe go that route. Maybe Derek Law. Since he wasn't used tonight. I mean, that might be your guy. But the Reds will be going up against Reese Olson. Interesting pitcher. He was the Tigers' number 11 ranked prospect when he got called up. He had a 6.38 ERA at AAA this season, but he made 3 really consecutive dominant starts, got called up, and then in his major league debut took a no-hitter into the 6th inning. Last 3 starts, he's been excellent. A 1.50 ERA in 18 innings pitched, just 5 walks and 16 strikeouts, mid-90s fastball, changeup, slider, and curve. So a guy that's pitching well, but a guy that is, probably beatable as well. So, man, if you can find a way to sweep this series, that'd be a big one.
Massive. It'd be massive. Stealing wins. Again, as a reminder, Thursday games. Thursday is tomorrow, for those that don't know. 2:10, first pitch, Marlins at the Brewers. 4:10, Diamondbacks at the Mets. And at 8:40, you got Giants at the Rockies. And as mentioned before, the Cubs do not play. The NL wildcard standings, as it stands at this very moment, the Chicago Cubs hold a 2-game edge over the last final spot in the wildcard. And in the final spot of the NL wildcard, the Cincinnati Reds, standing at 76 and 71, hold that spot, edging the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have a likewise record, although they do not have the tiebreaker of the Cincinnati Reds. So if the season were to end today, the Cincinnati Reds would be in the postseason. Obviously, the Giants are a half game back. They're 75 and 71, so theoretically they'd get a chance to tie the Reds, which would not be good. And then you got the Miami Marlins standing at 75 and 71 as well with a half game back. Keep in mind, as a reminder, the tiebreaker for the Marlins is the division percentage winner, which is a little confusing, Nick. But to be clear, we need to win as many division games as possible. We did not do a very good job of that against the Cardinals just this previous week. Hopefully, we can find a way to do that. The good news is that the Marlins play in a pretty tough division, and they got some more games against some pretty tough opponents as well. So, we'll see where it shakes up. We'll see how it ultimately goes.
I think the Reds are going to lose that tiebreaker. I don't think that. I don't think there's any way that the Reds could win that tiebreaker and not finish ahead of the Marlins. I think like the math might be almost impossible there. But one thing that is interesting, Reds have. I don't have enough room for it on that graphic, but the Reds have crept within 3.5 games of that first place Phillies. Of course, the Phillies did win the season series against the Reds, so the Reds wouldn't have the tiebreaker on them. But it's just another team that, let's say two other teams, let's say the Giants and the Diamondbacks, happen to just get red hot down the stretch. Maybe the Phillies just completely collapse and boom, there's a spot you could sneak into. So the more spots there are, the better, because it's a 15-game sprint and you never know what's going to happen. Any of these teams, any single one of these teams are capable of rolling off 6, 7, 8 wins in a row. So that's why I don't want to say, yeah, the Reds are in, or like it's just a daily thing. It's that's what's fun about it. There's no realistic expectations. None of these teams should feel good. The Diamondbacks shouldn't feel great. The Reds shouldn't feel great. I mean, the Reds should feel great because of where they came from, but overall, the Marlins should feel great. Like, it's just any of these teams could do it.
Yeah,
it makes it fun.
The beautiful thing I would argue as to why the Reds aren't going to do it, if they're not going to do it, is because of injuries, and it has nothing to do with what the future holds for this franchise. That's the beautiful thing, right? I think that's maybe the silver lining is what they call that, Nick. Anthony with the super chat says he's on a train as he speaks, heading to New York City for the Mets series. I'm still all in. All right, Anthony, you need to will us to a victory. Will us to a victory in New York. Trains are fun too.
383 people are still watching this.
Hey, man, this is an elite chat, Nick. This is an elite chat. I mean, when I say this is an elite chat, it is the elite of all elite chats. I'm telling you right now. And also, if you've not already, please like the stream. And we're like 200 people away from hitting 10,000 subs on YouTube, which would be really, really big time. We'd really, really appreciate that. So if you've not already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any live streams. There's so many other streams as well that we got going on at Chatterbox. Just figure it out. Find yourself a way. Mac and JT. Then you got, you know what you got that's pretty cool is the Chatterbox clicker. I was going to mention that here really quickly. If you're into football at all, even if you don't like the Bengals, I think there's a lot to learn in those. I really do watch them, and I find them fascinating. I enjoy it. That's Coach Kyle Kasky. He's coached for multiple years in the NFL. He was with the Cincinnati Bengals, the Detroit Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I might be missing some, but he's done it. This isn't a guy that's just decided to take up film breakdown. He's done it, and he's done it at a very high level. So check that out. And then the chatter, a little bit of comedy. You like comedy? Check out the chatter with Chuck and Houdini. And Nick's going to keep running through all these promos, and I'm going to keep trying to do my best to keep them going as I go. Chatterbox Bengals, as always, similar to Chatterbox Reds, after every single Bengals home game and away game, that is. So every home game and away game, you can check it out. And Off the Bench with Trace Fowler with an asterisk. It is usually Tom Brenneman, but he is out with vocal cord surgery. So until he gets back, I am trying to man that ship the best that I can. And I'm pretty much taking it off the rails because we are doing some things that are just, they're goofy. They're funny. I think they're funny. That's why we're doing them. It's about that time, Nick. It's about that time. I think what you need to do is you need to pull that.
Oh, hold up. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh. That's right. Because you know why? Because we want to. There might not have been a deep fly. This deep fly just so happened to be a single. But it was hit really hard.
A rocket.
It was hit really hard. Do you like hard hit balls? Do you like hard hit balls? You should. If you don't, find a friend that likes them and tell them about Christian Encarnacion Strand's single on a sharp line drive to left field. If you like statistics, it was 111.8 miles an hour off the bat, 284 feet, and it launched at a 16-degree angle, okay? But this is all sponsored by our good friends at Deep South Commodities. DSC for short, okay? DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com. That's www.deepsouthcommodities.com. www.deepsouthcommodities.com. That's www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks to our friends at Deep South Commodities and John, a very good friend of the show. Here's the thing. Nick, people want to see the pillow. Show the people the pillow.
How many more times do we need the pillow?
Not many.
The pillow, what, about 7, 8 more times?
Not
Nine?
many.
Nine more times?
Not many. That's elite. That's elite. It's an elite toss, too. It's an elite toss, too. And this is that time of the show where I'm going to ask Nicholas Kirby to clear the graphic. You know why? Because I need to talk to you for a minute. Yeah, I'm talking to you specifically. I need you to lock it in. I need you to lock it in. All right? There is no time for extracurricular activities. There is no time to go to the groceries. They deliver now. Get it sent to the house. You don't miss a pitch from now until the end of the year. There's no reason to miss a pitch from now until the end of the year. Of course, that is if there's something important going on that's very, very, very personal to you. But outside of that, by God, if you're not watching the Cincinnati Reds, then what are you doing? What are you doing? And if you think for 1 second, 1 single second, that I wasn't going to deliver on a promise that I made to our good friend Michael, you'd be wrong. You'd be so wrong. You know why? Because I jammed out with this as a kid. I jammed out. I love this song so much, and I love this franchise so much that I ain't watching the next one. I ain't watching the one with LeBron James. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. There's no reason to do it. Absolutely none. We're going to let this one marinate. Don't worry about my basement. It's a mess. I don't give a rat. You know what's funny about all this? The haters are going to keep hating, baby. They're going to be like, look at this guy. He's an idiot. Look at his basement. Clean it up. I don't give a rat's tail. Kid show. I'm going to play the whole thing. We might get kicked off of YouTube. And I just don't care. You know why? Because I'm going to let it play all the way out. We don't need the lyrics. You don't need the lyrics. You know why? Because you know what this song is. You know what it is. And I'm about to go promise the second thing I told you I was going to do. Hopefully I don't break my neck, but by God, I'm going to try. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, go Reds. My apologies to my daughter who loves this slide. Athlete!